At MMA. I am a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. I'm a professional MMA champion. I've starred in 2 fight circus shows before, and today we have a very, very big show. A lot happening in the MMA and the influencer community. In fact, today's big topic, our main attraction for today, our main story, is why absolutely nobody cares about Ronda Rousey versus Gina Carano, the scandal that's happening at Netflix, how Jake Paul is involved with his MVP promotions, and why there's so much controversy about this fight not being what the people want. We're going to get into it. I'm going to explain it all to you. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that's going on. If you go on my Instagram and you see who follows me, if you go on my X and you see who follows me, you will see that I have insider information on all kinds of stuff. And we're going to get into that. We're also going to get into the bigger problem for women, which is why no one cares about women's sports. We're going to break that down. I'm going to explain exactly what the problem is, what they're trying to do, why it's not working, and what they should do to fix it. I'm even going to give you guys how to fix the WNBA because I'm generous. The WNBA should literally pay me $1 billion for what I'm going to drop in this live. I'm going to give you a couple secrets. If they want to pay me for the rest, they got to pay me. But we'll explain it so you guys get a better understanding of the dynamics that are happening in the fight industry and the influencer industry and the sports industry and why what people are doing is absolutely wrong. We're going to discuss power slap. Yes, power slap. We're going to talk about why so many mixed martial arts fighters that are female are opting out of MMA and going into power slap. It's pretty sketchy, and that one's going to be interesting, guys. I'm going to explain to any woman athlete or woman who's watching the stream the number one skill that women can have that will improve their chance of success in every area of their life. We're going to talk about how Clavicular is trying to give advice to men about how to improve their lives and why he is partially right, but it's actually different for men. We're going to get into that. Clavicular is very, very popular right now, and he is giving some based takes. On this take, he is a little bit off, and we're going to get into why, and it's going to make a lot of sense when I explain it. This is going to give you an insight into male-female dynamics. And if you're wondering why I'm qualified to speak on that, I am 45 years old. My girlfriend is a 25-year-old dime piece celebrity. And I would say that I have a little bit of insight on how men and women interact with each other and what's important for men and what's important for women. So it's not just, today's show isn't just influencers and controversy. It's also life lessons, guys, because I love you guys. So we're going to get into that. Man, we're also going to get into hard-ass combat sports. All right, guys, because we love to fight around here. So we're going to get into what it was like to be at BKFC, cornering felony Charles Bennett, what Mike Perry said at BKFC. We were hanging out with Mike, and I have a little backstage info on that for you guys. He says he's got very, very big news coming about who his next opponent is, and we're going to get into who that might be. And maybe I'll give you guys a little bit of a hint if you could read between the lines. Speaking of big names at BKFC, Conor McGregor is part owner of the BKFC now. And we're going to talk about who Conor is going to fight on the White House card. That one's going to be crazy. If you go and you look at my Instagram, you will see that Dana White follows me. Several former and current UFC champions follow me. So sometimes when I'm speculating on this stuff, I'm kind of giving you guys the info, even though I can't say it's the actual info. Maybe you got to read between the lines sometimes. We're going to get into Strickland versus Chris Curtis, who are like best friends. They train at Extreme Couture, which is where I train and I coach at. And they have some political differences. I was talking to Chris Curtis about 2 days ago about Donald Trump. We're going to get into that. It's pretty controversial, guys. So let's hope I don't get canned and canceled for bringing that up. But yeah, Curtis has very specific takes on Trump. We're going to get into Curtis's current views on Trump. We're going to get into Strickland bringing Kyle Rittenhouse to Extreme Couture. Yeah, it gets pretty wild at Extreme Couture. Not to mention, we'll talk about that later a little bit. I have something that I can't say in the beginning of the stream that I'm going to say at the end of the stream. My buddy Jesse on Fire said that there's certain topics you can bring up in the beginning of the stream. He's got 600,000 subs on YouTube. So I'm going to trust his judgment, and I'm going to talk about some things that I can't even mention right now later in the stream. So stay tuned for that. And we're going to talk about, finally, in combat sports, one of the biggest stars in all of combat sports, Sugar Sean O'Malley. Should Sugar Sean get the title shot, the big money title shot against Peter Yan, or does Merab deserve the title shot? I have a unique view on this. I'm friends with Merab, so maybe I'm a little bit biased, but at the same time, Sugar Sean is bringing in dollars. We're going to get into that. What's the right thing for the UFC to do strategically moving forward on that? And if we have enough time, we might even get into why I regret not taking steroids. So we're going to get into a lot of stuff on today's show. Big show, great show for you guys today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm having a lot of fun with these lives. I prefer them much more than editing videos. And make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you can be notified when I go live. And, the channel's free, guys. I'm giving you guys behind the scenes insider information for free. All I ask is you just tap that subscribe button, tap that bell. It feels so good when you do it. You're going to feel happy about it. It's going to change colors. It's going to ding. It's going to be awesome. Hit subscribe, bang that bell. Let's go, guys. Before we get started, real quick, I just want to thank the sponsor of today's show, Fight Circus. We got the Fight Circus tee here. This is a crazy tee. It's got Fight Circus in the front, and it's got Felony Charles Bennett's mugshots on the back. You can hit Felony's Cash App right there. I'll hold that up for you. So this is Felony's walkout shirt. He had a white one. This is a black one. These shirts are actually banned from BKFC. So if you see Felony walking out when he got 16 million views for his most recent BKFC fight, we had to put tape through the Fight Circus. This shirt is banned, guys. You can't get this anywhere. You got to DM me on Instagram at King David MMA. I got the shirts. Let me know. Hit me up. I'll get them to you from Fight Circus. Fight Circus, the home of freak show fights. Furthermore, if you know somebody who's got an awesome gym and they want more students, send them to StudioMillions.com, where they will get their gym packed. StudioMillions.com will pack their gym. So now that we got all of that out of the way and we've made some money, we can get into the stream. So we're going to get right into it. The big story of tonight is why Ronda Rousey versus Gina Carano sucks, why no one wants to see it, why it's causing a scandal at Netflix. It's controversial. It's a big problem for Jake Paul and MVP. And it's the same problem that the WNBA is having. It's the same problem that most MMA fighters are having, male or female. It's the reason why WWE has been eternally successful despite the economy, despite what generation it is, despite being hardcore, despite being for the family. WWE gets this thing right. Most MMA fighters do not get it right, and it's not what you're thinking. It's much different than that, and it's the reason why no one cares about women's sports. And I'm saying this as someone who has coached a professional female athlete as high as the PFL. My ex-girlfriend and I, she used to train underneath me. I mean, that's all. I don't mean like that, guys. Get your mind out of the gutter. I know there's a lot of scandals going on in the jiu-jitsu community right now, but it wasn't like that. This was consensual. She double-legged me, y'all, okay? We were at the Christmas party. She double-legged me, man. She wasn't having it. I was trying to tap out. She wouldn't take no for an answer. She said, you can't tap out. I said, all right, girl, whatever. She was that good at top control, all right? So, moving forward on that subject, my uncle was Hulk Hogan. He was in the WWE, and I learned a lot about how to get people engaged and get people to care about what you're doing as a athlete, as a performer, as an entertainer. And that's the problem that Ronda and Gina are having, right? The big problem for Ronda and Gina is why? Why are they fighting? No, there's no reason for them to fight. They're not relevant to the sport right now. They're not fighting to get back. Ronda could get back to the UFC. They're kind of just doing a cash grab, and they're hoping that because they have names that people are going to tune in. And I think the MMA community is kind of seeing through it. I believe Netflix is trying to do a little bit of a controversial thing where they're using these kind of named females to win, I don't know, brownie points with the female community. Like, oh, we're doing this female empowerment thing. But, as cool as that is, and as empowered as I, think women should be equal rights or whatever, right? Like, my girlfriend is a Chinese genius influencer. She's a novelist. She's won beauty pageants. She's very, very, very awesome as a woman and as a human being. So we can support that, right? But that doesn't make somebody want to tune in to a fist fight, right? We need a reason why. Why are they fighting? Now, let me say this. Watch this. What if I told you I had insider info on this fight? What if I told you that they were fighting because they both used to date the same guy? And for the last 10 years, they've been in each other's DMs and been catty with each other. And now it's time for them to fight. Because back in the day, Gina stole Ronda's boyfriend. Right now, you want to see the fight, right? None of that's true. None of that's true. But I'm saying because I put a storyline behind it, now you're like, oh, shit. Shit, give me the tea. I want to watch it all now. Wow, she was in her Oh, dude, she stole her. Blah, 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 blah. Right now it means something, right? And it doesn't have to be as sensational or dramatic as that, but it has to mean something. And that's the problem with the WNBA, right? That's the problem with women's sports. They're trying to compete on, we're just as skilled. We do things good too. Men do good things and we do good things. And it's like, they're missing the point that nobody is watching men's sports just for skill. Even like Michael Jordan. It's a hot take, guys. Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time. Now, I'm going to get somebody that's going to comment that it's Kobe, and I'm going to get somebody else to comment that it's LeBron, right? But now we have a reason to tune in and watch LeBron, or we have a reason to tune in and watch the next guy. Who's going to beat so-and-so's record? Oh my gosh, what about Michael Jordan? What about the flu game? Or there's backstories built in. Do you know why people tune into the NFL? It's not to see the skill. Right? If it's the Bears versus the Packers, the storyline is these two cities are rivals. Their teams are rivals, right? The Packers, people tune in because the Packers, they buy tickets to the event to wear the cheese heads. They get foam cheese, big foam cheese on their heads. And now the Bears are getting big foam cheese graters on their heads, right? And there's a storyline, there's a history here, there's an ongoing theme. And that's what a lot of these women's sports are missing, and it's what men are missing in MMA as well. It's like, why is this fight happening? UFC does a great job because they're looking for the best fighters on the planet. Hey, if you're in the UFC, you're either here to become a champion, and if you can't be a champion, you're getting out, right? We're looking for people who could potentially be champions. And if that's not the path you're on, this isn't the organization for you. Go fight somewhere else, right? So their storyline is this is to be the best in the world. And they have the best talent, they have the biggest reach, they have the biggest platform, and they have the biggest talent out of any other organization. So when you watch the UFC, you're watching like, man, these people are all in this thing to be the best ever, right? Like that's their thing. And when it's the WNBA, it's like that girl's not going to be the best. She's not going to beat LeBron, right? So they got to compete on something else. So what they got to do a couple things. One, they got to change the uniforms, right? Nobody wants to see those uniforms. Okay. You got to let these women express themselves. Same thing with Power Slap, but that's a whole other subject. We'll get into that in a second. There should be, if there's a woman who wants to dress sexier in the WNBA, she should be allowed to do that. Bra top, booty shorts. If there's somebody in the WNBA that wants to dress a little butchier and she wants to wear a jersey and some basketball shorts down to her knees, she should be able to do that, right? So the team still has the logo. They still have the colors. They all match. But the women can express themselves differently. The next thing, they got to lower that rim. They got to lower the rim. Women can't dunk on a 10-foot rim. Just like it's not happening. So they got to lower the rim because the average height of a woman is smaller. The average ability to jump high is less, right? Lower the rim, let them dunk, let them dress better. And then the main thing the WNBA can do right now is start telling their story. And the story isn't every single woman is like, yeah, I've been in love with basketball and I've been playing with men my whole life and now I just want to be the best. Like, maybe the best girl could have that story, right? But like you can't cookie cutter that story over everybody. So why are these two teams playing? Why are these women playing, right? Why is Ronda fighting Gina? It doesn't make any sense. And it's even more scandalous and controversial that they're putting Ronda and Gina on because the only reason they're doing it is just to get some eyeballs and then say they did the good thing, which is empowering women's sports and like they're supporting and good. I want Ronda to get the bag. I want Gina to get the bag. I liked Gina in Mandalorian. I'm glad she's on Netflix, right? Shout out to Netflix for putting her on. Good. I don't like that she got canceled on that other platform, right? I want people to succeed. I want them to get the bag, right? But like, give us a story, man. And that's the thing that the WWE always does right. There's always a storyline. It's always woven in between multiple characters. And so as silly as WWE might seem to people who don't watch it like regularly, and they're like, why do people watch it? It's like the same thing as a soap opera. Soap opera has all kinds of woven storylines involved in it, right? So that's why a lot of women watch soap operas and a lot of men, watch WWE, okay? So like, it's the same thing. It's like ongoing storylines. And unless they say why these two are fighting, because really, they're not even on the same level. Like Ronda was the UFC world champion. Gina was a pioneer, but there's an age difference of like 4 or 5 years. There's a generational difference where Gina kind of came before Ronda. I'm not even sure what weight they're fighting at, 155. There's not even a women's division relevant in the UFC at 155. And it's like, I'm saying this is someone who coached a female athlete in the PFL. Okay? Like, I'm all about it, right? The women's fights can be exciting. A lot of times the women's fights are more exciting than the men's. Those chicks get emotional and want to just throw on each other. It's all good, right? But like, honestly, they gotta tell us why these two are fighting, straight up. Beyond that, right, if you're a woman watching this and you want the number one life hack in human history for women, be hot. Be hot. Like that's the ultimate cheat code to life. And I have a female friend, I'm not going to say her name, but she's an athlete and she used to be bigger, right? She was, in the 200 pounds, right? And then she got smaller. And she lost, probably over 100 pounds. And her life literally completely changed. So I see women at the mall and they're like trying something on and they're like not fitting in it right. And they're like, oh, does this shirt look cute on me? Or do these pants? And they're asking their girlfriend. And, their girlfriend's like, oh, girl, you look great in anything. Or what? Like, you know how it goes. They're just gassing each other up, which is, hey, that's cool, man. All love, right? But honestly, the life hack isn't finding the right shirt. It's not finding the right pair of pants or the right skirt or the right shorts. It's like, just be hot. And like, as fucking shallow as that sounds, if there's a woman watching and she just goes, okay, I'm locking in. I'm going to get hot and skinny. Like, that girl's life will change. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because this advice is being given to men right now by Clavicular. And Clavicular is going super, super viral giving men the advice that he would give to a woman, because men are very visual. So he's going, what's the best thing a woman could do is be hot. So he's internalizing that and saying that that's the best thing that men can do. And while looks matter for men, he's way overemphasizing looks, right? But because his audience is male, all these dudes visually reference as well. So they believe what he's saying because what's important to them is how women look. So they're like, oh, well, I judge everybody that I'm attracted to on looks because I'm a visual creature. So I'm going to assume that my looks matter to them as well, when in fact, it's actually not the same. Women have a different value structure than men. While looks are important to women, right? Like the way a man looks is important to a woman. It's not to the same degree, right? Like a dude could literally drive through, a multi-millionaire guy could drive through the drive-through at McDonald's and see a hot girl, like hand him his food through the window. And she's hot. She's 19, right? She looks kind of exotic. She's got long hair, youthful skin. She's got light-colored eyes. Her body's banging, even though she's got that frumpy-ass McDonald's outfit on. And that multi-millionaire will literally retire that girl from McDonald's and fly her around the world because she's hot. It's not the same for women. There's not women that are going to like drive through a McDonald's drive-through, see a dude who's got like a God-given jawline and just retire the dude. You know what I mean? You got to have some personality traits, right? You got to be like charming, funny, confident. You got to be competent. And I think that that's what's missing from Clavicular's message, is that he's framing things through his own lens and applying that to women. It's the same thing as like if you've ever heard a 40-year-old woman go, I just can't get why I can't find a guy. I'm successful. I'm driven. I try hard. I've got 3 degrees. I went to law school. I became a partner in the firm. And like, I just don't understand. Are these men intimidated by an intelligent woman? And like my buddy, who is a multimillionaire lawyer, he actually had this conversation with another female lawyer. And he goes, I'm not beating my meat at night to an intelligent, opinionated, driven woman who's 40. I'm just not, it's not what I'm masturbating to. You know, and she was offended by that because in her world, that's what she's looking for in a man. She's looking for driven, right? Competent, focused, locked the fuck in, successful, right? Competent, can like handle it all so she can chill. And she wants to know that he's got it, right? And I think that's a big issue in men and female dynamics, is that oftentimes what's attractive to one of us on one side is not necessarily the same thing that the other side is filtering for. Does that make sense? Right, so women are filtering for competency and men are filtering for looks. And then male dating advisors are saying, you gotta looks max, bro. And women are saying, be confident, be driven, be a powerful woman. And any man who doesn't want you is intimidated by, and it's like, neither side is understanding the other side, right? So, you know, back in the day, they wrote a book called Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. I haven't read the book, but it makes a lot of sense that men and women are like speaking 2 different languages in a lot of ways. And, you know, this isn't the podcast for that. This isn't the YouTube live for that, right? We could get deep into that. Maybe we'll get deep into that in a future video. But for right now, just understand that a lot of the advice that's circulating in the communities on both sides, on the TikTok on both sides, is filtered through someone's own biases. But yeah, if they want more male viewers, the WNBA should definitely put the women into outfits that display their personality and then tell stories behind those women. And I thought the same thing about Power Slap, right? There, I randomly have like 6, 7 Hey, 6'7", right? I have like 6 or 7 friends that are females that are all power slapping. My ex-girlfriend, she's in power slap. Um, Ellie Dempster, my little like homie kind of. I'm friends with her dude, like, and she's like super chill every time I meet her, but like I'm more friends with her dude than, her actually. But my former roommate was a Hooters girl and she lived with me and my ex-girlfriend and she's doing power slap. She's an amateur MMA champion. Ellie Dempster fought multiple times. My ex-girlfriend fought multiple, she fought in the PFL. So it's like, why are all these girls turning to power slap? Mikey Michelle, she's power slapping. Paige Van Zant, power slapping, right? So there's all these women. Sheena's who I had this conversation with, right? Uh, Sheena is essentially the 145-pound women's uncrowned champion in power slap. I would imagine they're going to give a title shot. They're going to create a belt for the 45-pound women, and she will probably get the first title shot, and then she will probably win because she is very, very powerful. She is like I believe, a world medalist in judo, so she has a lot of rotational force, and she has, at least at the time where I had found out about it, she had the hardest slap out of any female, and she has a fit body, but they were putting her in like a polo shirt, right? And like pants, you know what I mean? And I'm like, girl, you got to be in booty shorts that say power slap. I mean, keep in mind, she models like one step away from being nude in a lot of her like Instagram posts, right? She's very comfortable with her body. So I'm not just telling this to some chick that's not already doing that, right? Like, I'm not saying, hey, you got to just show it. No. What I'm saying is that she's already getting hundreds of millions of views, right? Because seeing a chick slap that hard is so crazy to a lot of dudes. Now imagine an attractive woman in a bra top and booty shorts, and it says slap across the back, and it says power right here, power slap, or whatever, power slap, the way they want to do it for their branding. And now she's going to slap the shit out of somebody. And I was like, man, the biggest problem I see with the female power slap is like a lot of these girls have banging bodies, and then they were fighting in MMA in bra tops and booty shorts. A lot of them are modeling on Instagram, half naked or naked on their OnlyFans, which some of them have OnlyFans, right? And then the power slap community's putting them in freaking 9 to 5 khaki pants. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing here? Why are we putting her in a polo, man? Right? What are we doing? What are we doing? So I think it's interesting that a lot of these MMA girls just kind of like go straight into power slap now. They're like, hey, you know what? MMA is cool. And the main reason that I see is that MMA is very, very hard to train for, right? You got to be really dedicated. You have to be very well versed in many forms of martial arts. And I was talking to one of these girls, I'm not going to say her name, but she explained it to me like this. She gets paid about 10 times more to go to power slap, right? And she doesn't have to train all the disciplines. And training with guys on the mat, you get hit by guys. And a lot of these girls, she was telling me, have been in domestic violence situations. So their thought process, from what I'm hearing from this girl, is that there's no girl that's going to slap me as hard as my ex punched me in the face. I've been through some shit. So to get slapped 3 times and collect tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, and blow my OnlyFans up and make millions of dollars, like that's more their mindset, right? So when you see the MMA girls just kind of like in MMA and then they have a promising career and you're like, man, I wonder what the ceiling is on that up and coming prospect. And then they just go to power slap. That's why, right? They get paid more money up front. They get way more visibility. They go way more viral. It's way easier to train for. It's not as bad as their ex. It's not as bad as sparring dudes, right? And then they're going to get slapped 3 times. And so that's, everybody's like, dude, I wouldn't stand there and just get slapped in the face. Man, that's brain trauma, man. And it's like, well, if you train for an MMA fight and if you train for boxing, which is even worse, you're getting hit in your head multiple times in training. So the argument that is pro power slap is that, dude, you're getting hit 0 to 3 times. You're making way more money and you're not taking all those hits in training, right? I mean, I've been rocked in training, right? Go spar some of the top guys in the UFC and be the last one on the mat when the other dude is like top 5 in the world at 185 pounds, and then he's got a fight coming up and you got to spar him, right? It's like, that's a rough go sometimes, you know? So a lot of people have problems with power slap, but when you look at it at that perspective, man, you kind of understand why these people are doing it, right? So anyway, on to more combat sports. Let's talk BKFC. I was out there with Felony. I cornered him. It was his first KO since 2016. I was fortunate enough to help him get ready for that fight. He was living at my house, and we had a very specific game plan for the training, right? We're not going to get into the training, and we're not going to get into the game plan right now, but we were backstage with Mike Perry, and Mike Perry has a very, very, very big announcement coming soon. And some people are speculating that it's going to be Conor McGregor versus Mike Perry. Now, I can't confirm that, right? But what I can talk about is, what if that did happen? Conor McGregor and BKFC. Conor McGregor, the notorious, there's only one Conor McGregor. There's only one Conor McGregor versus Mike Perry, man. That's a crazy BKFC fight. But to my understanding, Conor is still in contract with the UFC. Conor will be appearing at the White House card as it stands right now. They are in negotiations. It is not Carlos Paredes, as some people are reporting. It is someone else. It might still be Michael Chandler. And Conor might be the co-main event. Co-main event in the White House card, guys. What do you guys think about that one? My buddy Javon was staying at my house, and he was saying he doesn't want to see Conor fight again. He's like, dude, man, I don't want to see him get. He's like, the prime Conor McGregor. He wants to remember prime Conor McGregor. And like, that was the first time I had thought about maybe Conor shouldn't come back. Because, we all want to hope, right? Like, dude, what if he comes back and he's in like that, like free and flowy form where he's doing spinning kicks and forcing people into his left hand and crack, right? Almost like his karate stance, Conor. How Conor I can't even read that, bro. I cut to 150 pounds for a fight, and my vision like dissipated, and I never got my vision back. I'm gonna read that, and I'm gonna respond to you in a second. But yeah, I got these bright studio lights in my eyes right now. Trying to look a little professional for you guys. Trying to look a little professional. I got the backdrop. I got the belt. I got the black belt, Got the Fight Circus tee. And yeah, so at that point, I was like, dang. But here's the thing, man. If I'm going to believe in anybody that's not me, I'm going to believe in Conor. If anybody could do it, lighting is sick. Okay, let's go. All right. We're trying, we're trying to do what we could do right out here. I'm not an engineer. I just threw this little thing together for you guys, right? Everybody's like, dude, go live, bro. I'm like, all right. Because I hate editing. Like, I hate editing. I could talk to the camera all day. I feel like I'm talking to you personally, right? So like, oh yeah, you put it all caps so I could read it. Let's go. You get it? Yeah, man. It was sketchy, right? So I was telling you guys, my ex, she fought in power. She's fighting power slap, and she fought in PFL before. So I had cornered her for PFL and everything like that, and I had her coming out to corner me for a fight in Utah against a 6-1 prospect. He was a Division I wrestler. He had some boxing experience. He was kind of like considered a guy who might make it to the UFC. He was a top prospect, and the fight was at 150, and I cut to 150 because I really believe that like my weight class is 145 pounds, but this cut I overdid it in too quick of time, and my vision went out while I was trying to fill out my paperwork. What do you say? Panic wrestler. Yeah, that guy. Panic wrestler. And I called him, he shot on me. Called him a panic wrestler. I slapped him in the face and I broke his arm, in 3 minutes. And then his next fight, he went on to fight a UFC veteran. And he fought that guy to a 3-round decision. And a lot of the crowd thought that he won, even though they gave it to the local guy, right, who was the UFC vet. But they thought my boy beat my former opponent. They thought my former opponent beat the UFC veteran. in a 3-round decision, and I snapped his arm in 3 minutes. But who's keeping track, right? It was like 3 minutes and 40 seconds, whatever, right? Like it's all the same. So yeah, I cut to 45. I cut to 50 for that fight, and I went to fill out the paperwork, and I couldn't read the paperwork, and I was like, "Yo, Big J, you gotta do this paperwork for me." And she's like, "What?" I was like, I can't fucking read those words." And she's like, "What?" It's like they eye test you right before you fight, like days before, and I passed the eye test with flying colors, and now I can't even read this paper. So she filled the paperwork out for me. I'm like, okay, this will be cool. My vision will come back, and it never came back. So weight cutting can be sketchy, guys, and in the future I will not cut in that same manner. But we made the weight, and I won the fight, got the dub, cut a promo, told Utah that I was looking for some sister wives, and Jordan Levitt is actually from Utah. I believe he's Mormon. And I asked him about that promo. So if you guys are on my Instagram and you see the Sister Wives promo that I did in Utah, I talked to Jordan about that. I was like, yo, how would the Mormon community like take this? And he's like, oh, bro. He's like, that's hilarious, man. We'll laugh at that. Dude, they did not laugh. The women were happy. The women loved it. The men were booing me. I got booed out of that arena. That was pretty nuts. So that was a fun one. And then funny story afterwards, I'm in the hotel with my ex-girlfriend, and she's like, you're going to get girls DMing you, right? And I'm like, nah, you're tripping, right? It's different for dudes, right? And then literally some sister wives chicks DM me, and they're like, oh, heard you looking for sister wives. And they sent a picture, and it was 3 of them, right? So there are some perks to winning, y'all. You know what I mean? It's very important you win fights, guys. It's very important you win. And, so I'm excited to see Conor. I still believe Conor can do it. And especially if he fights Michael Chandler, I think he's going to cut through that man like a hot knife through butter, right? So that'll be dope. And speaking of political things like the White House card, now the rumor is it's Jon Jones versus Alex Pereira for the UFC title that Tom Aspinall has had removed, right? They're saying Tom Aspinall is on like a hiatus, and now the title shot is going to go to Jon Jones versus Alex Pereira. That is pretty interesting. But the problem with that is that Jon Jones wants to do one more fight. He wants to beat Alex, and he wants to retire. So how do you take the belt off Tom Aspinall, put it up, Jon gets it, and now Jon rides off into the sunset? Now Tom looks bad. Now Alex Pereira looks bad. Cyril Gane's out of the picture, right? So they might have to do a little maneuvering and either get some kind of commitment out of Jon Jones that he's going to defend the belt against Aspinall after this fight. Maybe they'll call it the interim title or whatever, or maybe they'll strip Tom and let Tom come back and fight Jones for it. But they need some fight, some kind of commitment out of Jon, right? So that's the big problem that's holding that one back. And Jon's not doing anybody any favors, saying he wants to end his career on, representing America with one last fight, right? Like UFC isn't necessarily looking for him to end his career and walk away with the belt, right? So maybe they got to do something with that guy, man, because that's the fight I think that would bring the house down for the White House card. And while we're getting political, talking about the White House, talking about Donald Trump, talking about Dana White, man, it's interesting being at Extreme Couture because Sean Strickland and Chris Curtis are best friends, but they have different political views. So I went in there the other day and I saw Chris Curtis. I was asking him what he thinks about Trump and, the current situation in the Middle East. And, Curtis said he predicted all this. He said he told us this was going to happen. He said he's been telling us since Trump ran the first time that this was going to go on. And Curtis feels very vindicated that his beliefs are right. And whether you agree with what is going on in the Middle East and what Trump's doing or not, Chris Curtis disagrees with it, and he said that this was going to happen, and he has predicted these things. Meanwhile, Strickland is bringing Kyle Rittenhouse to the gym. Curtis and Strickland have an issue over that. They are very different politically, but they are best friends. So it's like, in one way, it's kind of crazy to watch it because, you're there live and there's like this tension in person, But at the same time, it's like kind of cool. And like, this is going to sound, pause, no homo. It's like kind of heartwarming to see that two people who are so different politically can like be best friends, and they argue and they make up, and it's like kind of like wholesome in this like bizarre MMA combat sports way, you know? And so anyway, Strickland just won his fight. He's got a title shot coming up. It's going to be him versus Hamzat. And Hamzat came to the gym and trained. One of my teammates choked Hamzat out. I'm not going to say who in this one. Maybe in the next stream, I'll drop that bar and let you guys know who choked Hamzat out. It's not who you're thinking. And it's a pretty crazy story because they are nowhere near each other's weight class. And when you guys hear who it is, it's going to blow your mind. So maybe tune into the next live and we'll get into that topic. But right now, we got another story to cover. There's more controversy going on in the UFC because Peter Yan beat Merab. And Merab is like the longest running champion. He had the most wins to get to the title. And Dana started to like him, right? So now we got a problem because Merab is probably the most deserving of a rematch right now. But Sugar Sean has beat Peter Yan, and he's a moneymaker, and we just signed a Paramount deal, and we just got $7 billion. So we got to make some plays, right, guys? We got to make plays, you know. Dana's got to collect the bag, right? He's got to secure the bag. And maybe Sugar Sean versus Peter Yan will secure the bag. Sugar Sean beats Peter Yan again, which is a hard task. And now it's Merab. Or do you do the rematch? Do you do the rematch again? And now Peter Yan, now you can't really do the rematch because then Sugar have 2 wins over him, right? So then it would be Merab versus Sugar again, and Merab gets the belt back, and then Peter Yan challenges Merab again, right? Like, is that what they're going to do? Is that what they're going to do for the freaking, the UFC 135-pound title, man? It's getting crazy out here, guys. I'm headed to Hawaii April 11th with Felony for bare knuckle. He's fighting a Hawaiian local dude. It's going to get crazy, bro. It's going to get crazy. Felony Charles Bennett is going to go to Hawaii and knock out a local Hawaiian dude in front of the Hawaiian community. And I don't know if you guys know about Hawaii. They like to street fight. And they're very into their own local community out there, right? So I'm what's called a haole, which means like white person or white devil or something. Who knows what it means, right? And then I'm not even going to say what Felony's called out there. And so we're going into enemy territory, right? I'm over here trying to like mahalo everybody. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to like bring aloha. You know what I mean? And I'm just like getting told that it's going to be crazy. And the wild part is I went over and I fought in Turkey before. I fought in Antalya, Turkey for an amateur Fila world title, and I won, gold medal. I don't have that gold medal. That's out in the living room. We would have to go to the living room to see that gold medal. All we got right here is my, professional MMA title that I won at 44 years old. You know what I'm saying? No big deal, right? That dude had 50-something fights, and I put him to sleep unconscious in front of his friends and family. And then